typically when you train for a marathon, it's 18 weeks. And your first long run is 6 miles, which is, I don't know, probably like 8 kilometers or so. And then the next week you do a longer run, and then it goes down and then up again and then down. And, so using miles, went 6 miles, 7 miles, 5, 9, 10, 7, 12, 13, 10. And so I took the same view, but rather than miles, rather than weeks, I thought of it as years. And rather than miles, I thought of it as US dollars. And so that's the first thing, is I had a very long-term view. I didn't worry about the exit. I wanted to build a great company. That's one of the first things that I believe is really important, is so many people are focused on I want to build this and sell it in 5 years. And I want to build something special. I want to build something meaningful. I want to build something that lasts, time, the test of time. So that was one thing that I did. The second thing is I'm an incrementalist. And so the idea is that generally around July, I start planning the next year. And I think about the investments I want to make. And I just want next year to be better than the year before. And if you can do that consistently, it compounds upon itself. And the guy's like, I'm pretty sophisticated. I look at 315 different KPIs every single day. And, so like in his mind, he's a data-driven person. He's a numbers guy. And he was proud of how many KPIs he was looking at. I want to take him to the opposite point of view. I want you to be so proud that I got the numbers so simple that there's only 3 numbers. I actually got it down to 1. I have something called the CPR score, which is our own proprietary scoring system, which is basically an algorithm that takes your cash, your profit margin, and your revenue and creates it into one score. Think of it as like a credit score, but rather than for you as an individual, it's for your service-based company. And so that's the first thing, is just, learning and thinking about how do you simplify and how do you get it to the least amount of numbers. That's reason number 1. Reason number 2 is, for a lot of people, there's just discomfort in numbers. They just don't, want that. And then the third one, which I think is a really big deal and something that's very real, is the emotional aspect of what the numbers tell you. If your profit margin is too low, if you're not growing on a year-over-year basis, sometimes you just don't want to accept reality. It's easier to put your head in the sand, than to actually get going. Make the decisions you need to make.
315 KPI. I mean, that is, wow.
It's a lot.
You wouldn't have time to do anything else.
Your first 10 employees are the most important employees. If you think about, if you have 3 bad employees out of 10, that means 30% of your workforce is not producing at the level that you need. And so you need to have an incredibly high standard. The second thing is, typically there's 95% right, 5% wrong. And I really try to lean on the 95% right and make people feel great about themselves, as opposed to the 5% wrong. It's important that your team members know that you care, even if they're not a good employee. Even if you're going to let them go, that doesn't mean they're bad people. You can still do it in a caring way. But I think it's really important that they know that there's love, that there's caring, that you want to do right by them. So that's another big aspect. And then the third one is, I believe in this concept of a performance-based culture. And there needs to be a certain level of intensity to thrive in a competitive environment. Business is a team sport. In my opinion, it's the greatest team sport. And every year, there is a full year season, that you get to play the game. And, so you have to make sure you have the right team in place. Then you have to think about mentorship, training, development, how you grow those people as an individual.
Absolutely. So you've hit 2 things there that I really want to pick up on, actually. So I'd say the same about leadership. It seems from the outside that leadership is like a one-person sport, right? But It's definitely not. And if
Yeah.
you think that way, you're doing it wrong. Like, I don't even need to know anymore. It's about the team. That's the point of leading, isn't it?
Yep.
And then the other one, so the pit crew is such a great example of what I was talking about in terms of knowing what good and bad looks like. Because you could look at that entity and go, right, the key thing here is we need to be fast because the fastest car wins the race. Therefore,
Yep.
your tire change, whatever it is, has to be the fastest possible, which is makes perfect sense. That's what good looks like. And then they do it so fast that they don't finish the job. The car pulls away, the wheel comes off, and they're disqualified.
Yeah.
There's rarely just the one good thing, is there? You've got to have multiple things quite often. I think that's quite a good kind of analogy for business.